Ethan Cole was an ordinary man. He worked long hours as a mechanical engineer in New York, fixing machines that no one else wanted to touch. He had no family left, no girlfriend, and no pets. Life was simple, quiet, and lonely. Every night he came home, ate noodles, checked the news, and went to sleep in his small apartment. That night was no different. He turned off the lights, sighed, and lay down on his bed, naked as usual. The air was warm and the city outside hummed with life. He closed his eyes, thinking about the boring meetings waiting for him in the morning. But before his thoughts could fade, something strange happened. A sharp sound, like a high-pitched hum, cut through his dreams. His body felt heavy, then weightless. A blinding flash filled his vision, and for a moment he thought he was falling. Then nothing, just darkness. When Ethan opened his eyes again, everything was wrong. He wasn't in his room. He wasn't even on his bed. Instead, he lay on a smooth metallic floor. The air was cold, almost freezing, and a strange silver mist floated in the air. He shivered and looked around in panic. The room was huge, filled with glowing blue lines on the walls and strange machines humming quietly, and he was completely naked. "What the hell?" he whispered, standing up slowly. His breath came out in white fog. The surface beneath his feet was smooth like glass, but it wasn't slippery. The whole place felt unreal. Then he heard a voice. "Subject 14 is conscious." Ethan spun around. Floating in the air a few feet away was a creature that made his heart stop. It was tall and thin, with a body that seemed made of glass. Inside its transparent skin, light pulsed like moving veins. It had 4 arms, no mouth, and large eyes that glowed white. Another one appeared beside it, carrying a tablet-like device. "Vital functions stable," it said in a calm, robotic tone. "Specimen appears confused. Behavior matches pattern of early intelligence species." They were talking about him, like he was some lab animal. Ethan backed away. "Stay the hell away from me," he shouted. The first creature tilted its head. Vocal frequencies detected. Primitive communication method. Interesting. More of them floated closer, surrounding him in a half circle. Ethan's heart pounded. He looked for a weapon, anything, but the room was empty. A strange energy field blocked the only doorway. He took a step back and hit something solid behind him. When he turned, his stomach twisted in shock. It was a glass pod, filled with thick blue liquid. Inside, a human woman floated unconscious. Her eyes were closed, her hair drifting in the gel. And next to her, in other pods, were more humans, dozens of them, men and women, all naked, all asleep. Ethan's breathing quickened. "Oh my God." He turned to the aliens. "What did you do to them?" "Preservation," one replied. "Specimens of the human species. All collected before extinction event." The words hit him like a punch. Extinction? What did that mean? He shook his head, refusing to believe it. "You're lying. Humans aren't extinct. I was just in New York. Incorrect," the alien interrupted. "This one's memory fragment suggests temporal anomaly. We will examine further." It raised one of its glowing arms, and a thin beam of light shot toward Ethan's face. Pain exploded in his skull. He screamed, falling to his knees. The beam dug into his thoughts, scanning, searching, taking. But the aliens underestimated him. Ethan wasn't just a normal man. He was a fighter, a survivor. Years of hardship, loneliness, and struggle had hardened him. He gritted his teeth and fought the pain, focusing on the glowing device in the alien's hand. He could see how it worked. Light channels, energy nodes, a control crystal. His engineer mind started connecting dots. He reached up, grabbed the alien's arm, and pulled with everything he had. The creature let out a strange, high-pitched sound as it lost balance. Ethan yanked the device free and smashed it against the floor. Sparks flew, an alarm blared through the room. Red lights flashed. The aliens backed away, their calm tone now replaced by confusion. "Containment breach. Specimen is aggressive." Ethan stumbled toward the nearest control panel. It was covered in strange symbols, but the logic behind it made sense. He'd spent years repairing foreign machinery. This was just more complex. He pressed the glowing runes, following the rhythm of their energy flow. A soft hiss filled the air. The pod behind him cracked open. The blue liquid drained out, and the unconscious woman inside fell forward into his arms. Hey, wake up," Ethan said, shaking her gently. She didn't respond, but she was breathing. He turned back to the control panel and slammed his palm against a large red symbol. Every pod in the chamber started to open. The aliens panicked. "Stop him. The specimens are not ready for release." Ethan grabbed a piece of broken metal from the floor and swung it wildly as one alien came close. The makeshift weapon smashed into its crystal-like chest. The creature shattered like glass, scattering shards of light. The others froze for a moment, shocked. Then they retreated, vanishing through a wall of light. Ethan turned, breathing hard. All around him the pods were opening. Men and women began coughing, gasping for air, waking up from whatever nightmare they had been trapped in. "Where are we?" one man cried. "What's happening?" "I don't know," Ethan said, his voice shaking. "But we're not on Earth." He grabbed a cloak from one of the fallen aliens and wrapped it around himself. It felt warm and light, made of some silky material. He helped the woman stand, then looked toward the exit. The energy field blocking it had vanished. Beyond it was a hallway, a long corridor lined with silver walls that seemed alive, pulsing softly with light. He took a deep breath. "We need to move now." They walked through the corridor, barefoot and trembling. Strange sounds echoed, mechanical whirs, distant alarms, the hum of engines. The ship was massive. Through one of the large transparent windows, Ethan saw the truth. They were in space. Stars glittered outside, endless and cold. A giant planet of blue and green floated far below. The woman beside him whispered, "This can't be real." "It's real," Ethan said quietly. "And I think we're prisoners." They reached another control room. Ethan scanned the alien devices until he found something like a map. When he touched the glowing screen, a holographic projection appeared, a 3D star chart. The symbols were strange, but the structure was clear. It showed a route through space, away from Earth. At the bottom of the screen, Ethan saw something that made his blood run cold. Status: human civilization extinct. Date: 2346 CE. He stared in silence. His hands shook. The last thing he remembered was sleeping in 2025. Somehow he'd been asleep or preserved for over 300 years. He wasn't kidnapped yesterday. He was the last man from a dead world. Ethan felt anger building inside him. He turned to the others who were watching him for answers. "They think we're extinct," he said softly. "They think we're just samples. But they're wrong." He clenched his fists. "We're still human, and we don't go extinct that easy." They moved deeper into the ship, hiding whenever alien patrols passed. Ethan led the group into a storage bay filled with strange crates. Inside, he found alien tools, energy weapons, and protective suits. He handed them out, explaining as best as he could how to use them. One man asked, "How do you even know what these are?" Ethan smiled faintly. "I fix machines for a living. Doesn't matter what planet they're from. Mechanics are universal." The group looked at him with growing hope. Ethan walked to a large window and looked out at the stars again. His mind was racing. Somewhere out there, Earth might be gone. But humans were still alive here on this ship. He wasn't sure how many were left, but he knew one thing. He was going to save them. He looked back at the frightened faces behind him. "Listen," he said firmly. "I don't know who these aliens are or why they took us. But I'm not waiting around to be studied. We're taking this ship." The others stared in shock. "That's suicide," one whispered. Ethan smirked. "Maybe. But humanity has done the impossible before." He tightened the cloak around his shoulders and picked up one of the alien weapons. It felt light but powerful, humming softly in his hands. The fear in his chest turned into something else. Determination. "Let's show them what humans can do," he said quietly. And with that, Ethan Cole, the man who went to sleep on Earth and woke up centuries later among the stars, took his first step toward becoming the last hero of humankind. The ship shook with a low rumble as warning lights flashed across the corridors. Ethan Cole and the small group of freed humans crouched behind a wall in silence. The air was filled with a soft hum, the sound of energy flowing through alien machines. Ethan peeked around the corner. 3 of the crystal-skinned aliens floated near a console, their bodies glowing brighter as they communicated in sharp, clicking tones. "They're fixing something," whispered Mira, the woman he had rescued first from the pod. She was awake now, alert and strong-willed. "Then we stop them," Ethan said. He held the alien weapon tightly, his finger hovering near the trigger. "We can't let them restore control." He took a deep breath and stepped out. The weapon hummed and fired a bright beam. It hit one alien in the chest. The creature shattered instantly, breaking apart into fragments of glowing dust. The other 2 turned, their limbs flashing with light. They shot back, Thin rays of blue energy zipped past Ethan's head, burning the metal walls. Mira and the others ducked behind cover and returned fire. The fight was fast and brutal. When the last alien fell, silence returned, except for the heavy breathing of the humans. Ethan lowered his weapon slowly. "Everyone okay?" A few nodded, some still shaking. He scanned the room. It looked like a control hub. Screens, panels, and glowing pathways stretched across the walls. In the center stood a tall pillar of light connected to the ceiling and floor. The ship's power core, maybe. Ethan stepped closer and placed his hand on the surface. The symbols glowed brighter, reacting to his touch. The alien technology seemed alive, pulsing with energy. "Can you understand it?" Mira asked. "A little," Ethan said. "It's a control system. Looks like we can access the ship's memory here." He pressed a few glowing runes. The pillar flared, projecting a hologram in front of them. It showed a map of the galaxy. Stars, planets, and routes marked with alien text. Then a sequence of images appeared. Humans, cities, wars, explosions. Mira's eyes widened. "What is that?" Ethan's face hardened. "It's history." The hologram continued to play. It showed alien fleets arriving near Earth. The humans fought back, but the aliens were too powerful. Entire cities burned. Oceans boiled. Billions died. The aliens began collecting survivors for study, freezing them in stasis pods to learn how humans survived under pressure, how they adapted. And then, Earth went dark. The planet turned gray and lifeless. The final image showed the aliens leaving orbit, carrying their specimens into deep space. Mira covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. "So it's true? Humanity is gone." Ethan stared at the projection, silent. His jaw tightened. "Not gone," he said finally. "Not while we're still breathing." He turned back to the controls. "If we can control this ship, we can find a place to start again." But before he could continue, a deep mechanical voice echoed through the room. "Unauthorized access detected. Security protocol engaged." The lights dimmed. A loud alarm began to ring. The door behind them sealed shut, and a heavy thump echoed through the floor. Ethan frowned. "That's not good." From the shadows above, a massive alien machine descended, twice his height, built like a living tank. Its body was covered in glowing armor, and its eyes burned red. "Specimen leader identified," it said. "Terminate on sight. Run!" Ethan shouted. The humans scattered as the machine fired streams of energy. The blast tore through walls, leaving molten holes. Ethan rolled behind a console and fired back, but the weapon's beam bounced off the creature's armor. Mira grabbed a metal rod from the ground and threw it at the machine. It hit the core on its back, and for a second its lights flickered. "Ethan! The back!" she shouted. Ethan nodded. He sprinted to the other side as the machine turned toward him, charging its main cannon. The air filled with the sound of rising energy. He dove forward, sliding under the monster's limbs, and jammed his weapon into the glowing weak spot. He pulled the trigger. A blinding explosion of light filled the room. The shockwave knocked everyone off their feet. When the light faded, the machine lay still, a smoking heap of shattered metal. The air smelled like burnt ozone. Ethan coughed, standing up slowly. "That was close," Mira smiled faintly. "You just fought a giant alien tank naked 2 hours ago." "You're doing great," he chuckled softly. "I've had worse mornings." The group took a short rest before moving deeper into the ship. With every corridor they passed, they found more signs of the aliens. Strange laboratories, stasis chambers, and storage rooms filled with preserved creatures from other worlds. It wasn't just humans they had taken. There were hundreds of species, all frozen, all studied. "This isn't a research ship," Ethan said quietly. "It's a zoo." They reached a large hangar bay. Through the massive window they could see smaller alien vessels docked outside. "If we can get one of those ships working," Ethan said, "we can escape." "But where will we go?" asked one of the men. "There's no Earth left." Ethan looked out at the stars. "Then we'll make a new one." He turned back to the controls near the hangar door, but before he could touch them, a familiar voice echoed from the intercom. "Human specimen Ethan Cole. Your resistance is inefficient. Cease activity. Return to containment for preservation." Ethan froze. "Who the hell is that?" "I am Overseer Theta. I control this vessel. Your kind has no future. Your destruction was inevitable." Ethan smiled grimly. "Funny. We heard that before, and from every tyrant in human history. They all ended up the same way. You cannot win, the voice replied calmly. You are a single primitive against an empire of billions. Maybe, Ethan said. But humans never needed billions to win. We only need one reason. He turned to Mira. We're not escaping anymore. We're taking this ship, she nodded, eyes full of fire. Then let's take it. They moved quickly, guided by Ethan's instincts and the alien systems he was slowly learning to understand. He found a maintenance shaft leading to the ship's main reactor. If they could shut down the AI core controlling everything, the rest of the aliens would lose their coordination. The shaft was dark and narrow, filled with tubes of glowing energy. Heat pressed against their skin. Halfway through, Ethan stopped. Ahead, a group of smaller drones blocked the path, spherical machines with sharp arms and glowing red eyes. Get ready, he whispered. The fight was fast. The humans used whatever they had. Alien weapons, metal rods, even bare fists. It was chaotic, messy, and human. When the last drone fell, the corridor was filled with smoke and sparks. Mira wiped sweat from her forehead. How are we still alive? Ethan smiled. Because we're stubborn. They reached the reactor chamber, a vast room with a spinning core of blue light. Above it hovered the ship's central intelligence node, surrounded by energy shields. Ethan approached slowly. The AI's voice echoed again. You have reached the end, human. You cannot stop the future. Ethan aimed his weapon at the glowing core. The future's what we make it. He fired. The beam hit the shield, cracking it. The AI screamed, a sharp digital roar that shook the room. He fired again and again until the light exploded outward, engulfing everything. When the energy faded, the ship went dark. The hum of engines stopped. The alarms went silent. Mira looked around in shock. Did we do it? Ethan looked at the now dark reactor. Yeah, we did. Hours later, the humans gathered in the hangar bay. The alien ship floated quietly through space, and no lights, no movement. Ethan stood near the window, staring at the stars. We're free, he said softly. Mira came beside him. So what now? He smiled. We fix the ship. We wake the others. We find a planet. We start again, she nodded. Do you really think we can rebuild? Ethan turned to her. Humanity built itself from nothing before, caves, fire, stone. We'll do it again. That's what we do best. Behind them, hundreds of humans were waking from their pods, confused, weak but alive. Ethan walked to the center of the hangar, where a damaged flag from one of the pods lay, a faded Earth flag. He picked it up and tied it to a pole near the window. As the symbol fluttered gently in the still air, he spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. Listen up, people. We're all that's left, but that doesn't mean it's over. We're not specimens. We're not lab rats. We're human beings, and we just took an alien battleship. The crowd slowly smiled. Some cheered, some cried. Mira looked at him with pride. You know, she said softly, you might have just started humanity's second chance. Ethan looked at the stars again, endless, bright, and full of promise. Then let's make it count, he said. Because if the universe forgot what humans are capable of, we're going to remind them.